Hey everyone, so I'm going to do a quick video on a certain topic, and it really will be quick. I promise myself. I just did a couple new videos if you missed it. One is a new subliminal affirmation, and the other was a tarot reading after the full moon. I keep wanting to say new full moon, but I know that would be confusing, but it was after the full moon, I think October 1st, after that. So it was a really interesting reading. But today I just wanted to sound off on, I hate that kind of term, sound off, but it came out of my mouth. Um, the differences between mind, emotions slash heart slash the sacral heart. What I hear of sacral heart, or I'll just maybe say true heart because I don't know too much about sacral heart, but I know that there's different things. But I'm getting in tune. September for me was about realizing the answers are within you and the strength is within you. The truth is within you. It's just ultimately not external. Um, People outside of us, can help direct us in a certain direction, maybe. But uh, I would never take anything anyone says as gospel. Let me get my camera back up. Oh, it's probably really dark, but I got like dark mode on everything. Sorry. So, and I just wanted to talk about really quick about the how this realm has really promoted, and we know this that this realm has promoted being logical and focusing on the mind, um, in everything. Everything is very logic based. Education is logic based. Even the creative arts, air quotes, um, is all logic based. Granted, I didn't like major in college with like uh, any kind of artistic. I did take a photography course, but everything is so structured. Everything is so, it's just very logical. And even with the corruption of the education system is children are being groomed to, I'm trying to think of a word, they're just being taught purposely with an agenda to follow the rules, to follow, um, not to think for themselves. But then again, like another agenda is to be very thinking with the brain. And I have very much struggled with this balance of mind and emotion through my life. Um, and the synopsis version of my life with that struggle is I my mind has always been in overdrive. I've always had depression and anxiety issues. And I've been in therapy with different therapists through the years, but I started doing therapy technically when I was in high school, like about 2005 was when I technically started doing therapy. And for the longest time, I got wrapped up in some of the therapy too much, like taking too literally what therapists would say. And one of the bad lessons that kept me trapped in a very bad victim, almost not a victim, I don't know how to say it, but um, a couple of my therapists along the way said things like, you can't change other people, you can only change yourself. So I interpreted that in a very bad way, and I would logically do mental gymnastics to change myself and to pretend like things didn't bother me, trying to be a different person for other people because I was like, well, I can't change other people, but I can change myself. So I unhealthily pushed myself and put myself in very bad situations all the time because I was like, well, I can change myself. And then there was a good there was something good about that in terms of like wanting to be a better person, but I took it like in a really bad direction. So, um, and then I found a therapist who actually got me into mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. And I will say that has been, long story short, on that one, it is a great tool. However, in the last year or so, maybe, once I realized, again, I there's more I could say on this subject. I've struggled with emotions so much. One other example is in therapy. I was suggested to do group therapy, um, what delectable behavioral therapy or something is DBT. There's like CBT, but I was doing DBT, and I really shouldn't have done that. That's like it's a long story, but what's crazy is what made me think of this is that they're like the big thing of DBT. Supposedly, this one woman created the program, but they use the Vesica Pisces as an example to show logic mind, emotional mind, and then in the middle where it meets is wise mind. So it wasn't until like recent years that I kind of realized with all the new age stuff and realizing about like sacred geometry, seed of life, flower of life, tree of life, etc. Hopefully I'm not doing weird hand symbols. I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands, I guess, just let you know. I apologize. Um, so that got me thinking about like and also with the DBT, mindfulness was also a big deal. That's part of the wise mind. That was the repeated course. You would have like these courses in DBT where I can't remember. There was like five of them maybe, but there was one of them that you would do every time you ended it. You would keep going back to this course, and it was just strictly on mindfulness. We would start every DBT with a meditation, a mindfulness kind of meditation. Um, and what I realized is, oh my God, even though therapy is really good to get into your head and like figure stuff out, um, for over well, basically about 15 years now, I have also been focusing again, overstimulating the mind, always ruling with the mind, trying to figure out and not really figuring out my emotions and kind of going back to that DBT. I remember one of the first, maybe it was like the first time I was at that DBT group, and I was there for like 8, 9 months or something like that. It was a long program that I technically didn't complete, but um, they wanted you to draw those circles, and they wanted you to say, okay, draw the size of the circle that relates to how emotional you are or how much your mind is or something. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're more of a mind person or emotion person, with the probably intent that everyone there would actually be way more emotional and uh, not so mindful. So everyone else's emotion bubbles were like this and their mind bubbles were like this. And mine was the opposite. My mind bubble was so big and my emotion bubble was so small. And the thing about the mindfulness, excuse me, the DBT group was they would create these convoluted ways to work through your emotions to become more logical. Again, it's all this idea that emotions are kind of unhealthy by nature, they're bad, and the only way to figure them out is to balance it with the mind. And yeah, there's some good with that idea, but again, we're going to wise minds, so it's like your emotions and then your logic, and it creates a wise mind. But what about the wise heart, right? So yeah, I can't really get into everything now. I'm gonna have to end it right now, but um, this is just like a part one of this discussion, I suppose. And I'd like your thoughts as well. But it's just amazing that therapy has helped me for sure. But I think that's why I just keep running into the same problems, like or like what's happening. It's like a never ending thing I can think about. And I mean, I will say, like, now that I haven't been working professionally for 4 years and I've been focusing on myself, I realized that spirituality to some degree and truth seeking has been like the missing component of everything was just breaking down my emotions with my logic. But like spirituality, again, is nowhere to be seen. You can't, it's not very much promoted in therapy ever. It's not in any way. And then if you think outside the box again, you could be labeled as paranoid. Um, to be like, well, I don't trust the government. I don't trust your label. Pff, paranoid for the most part or whatever. So I guess what I wanted to wrap it up was, yeah, with that mindfulness meditation. And now what I'm trying to do is, if I find myself thinking, because I do this all day, I'm always like thinking about what my thoughts are and doing the mindfulness. And now I'm moving more towards a feeling approach with it. So if all of a sudden I feel anxious, I'm just like aware of it. The mindfulness meditation has helped me really understand what my calm state is, like what I am really at my calmest. Not even the calm, it's like an ultra calm state. And I'm able to now, for the most part, if I feel not thinking, but I can feel my body and my mind working too much, I'll get like, it's like a threshold, and I'm starting to go right down into this calm state. So, and I want to. I've had moments where I'm actually feeling with emotions and living with my emotions, and not so much analyzing everything. Uh, and it's rare, and I'm moving towards that way of living. I think the big component is valuing emotions over the mind. And I think that's where spirituality and truth is kind of heading towards, is that um, really the heart is what you call it, the heart chakra if you want, or just your heart is what is actually the higher dimensional frequency. And that's why it's suppressed in this realm, because it is the key to a healthy living, a healthy life in general. And it kind of is the thing and I think it does unlock those frequencies of abundance as well. I've definitely had my experiences recently with that. So and so I'm moving towards that. So that's definitely a component. A high component is valuing your emotions. Like if you're going out for a walk, instead of like thinking about like, oh, look at these trees, they're so nice, and the foliage and the leaves are changing colors. Just if you're what I'm trying to do now is like, if I start thinking like in dialogue, I stop it, because I know where that path leads. Thinking and talking about things like I'm doing now does not ultimately it doesn't feel better. And then I just kind of ignore it. And now I'm starting to ignore it and shut it down. And then if you're just patient and you wait, those emotions start to come up. And it's almost like oil and water, how you really, to get those true emotional state feelings, you can't think your way to them, and you just have to quiet the mind to a degree where you don't value. There's no sense in valuing those thoughts anymore. It doesn't really bring the true emotion out. So I know I didn't explain exactly what I wanted to, so I'm just gonna end it now before it gets too long. Thanks.